So today we'll be diving into yet another shocking wave of WWE releases and a few other issues. So let's get into the obvious news that everyone has been talking about over the last 24 hours. And that's the new list of superstars that have been fired and released from WWE. Let's quickly go down this list because this is almost as shocking as the last wave of released superstars from not too long ago. WWE took to Twitter to officially confirm the releases of Braun Strowman, Lana, Ruby Riott, Aleister Black, Santana, Garrett, and Murphy. A lot of fans and even the other superstars backstage have barely recovered from the first wave of releases that happened just a few weeks ago, and now another wave has hit. The last wave of released superstars, minus Billie Kay and a few others, were most talent that they weren't using and had no plans for. But this list of released superstars right here is full of talent that they were actively using, which makes the situation even more bizarre. Braun Strowman was just involved in the main event title picture for the WWE Championship just a few weeks ago at Backlash. Now, he's gone. Then you have Lana. Everyone has been praising Lana for her hard work to improve in the ring. Natalya has even talked about how wrestling is Lana's passion and how she always wants to train with her. Lana was just on Raw this week and had a tag team going with Naomi for a long time. They seem to be hanging around with the title picture, and now Lana is let go. That brings us to Ruby Riott. WWE originally had plans for Ruby Riott. They gave Ruby her own faction with Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan, which was known as the Riott Squad. These three became the closest of friends. They even had their debut date tattooed on them. The Riott Squad took a big hit when Sarah Logan was released in 2020. Ruby and Liv kept the Riott Squad going, and they seem like great candidates to be the next tag team champions. Natalya even talked about this recently, where she said that she felt a bit guilty about winning the tag titles with Tamina because she felt like Liv and Ruby deserved it more. Everyone sort of assumed that Liv and Ruby would be the next tag team champions, but obviously that can't happen now. Of course, you have to feel for Liv Morgan as well, now the last remaining member of the Riott Squad. She lost both of her best friends and is now left alone. So what's going through her head? Reports when the Riott Squad first debuted always claimed that Liv Morgan was WWE's favorite to be the real breakout star of the group. But nowadays, with what we're seeing, it feels like no one is safe from being cut from the company. Murphy's release is not much of a surprise. He was extremely frustrated. They didn't have any intentions of using him again, so it looks like both sides are possibly happy with that. That brings us to the most surprise name of the list, and that is, of course, Aleister Black. Another perfect example of no one being safe and an example of them giving up extremely fast. A lot of fans expected Aleister Black to be a part of the first wave of released superstars from a few weeks ago, but when he wasn't released, fans were relieved that he survived the cuts. It was then being reported that he was being repackaged, filming content for his return, and they had big plans for him again. We started seeing these little stories and animations from Aleister Black about the new darker father character and his backstory. Those animation stories went on for a few weeks and then led up to his return. Aleister Black actually got a big returning moment just 2 weeks ago when he attacked Big E in the closing moments of Smackdown to make his return. This was his first appearance since October. Aleister Black's return was followed up with nothing on Smackdown that following week, and fans began to worry. Reports claim that it was because Big E wasn't at the show, but it looks like we got the real reason now, and that's the fact that they wanted to scrap everything with Aleister Black literally 7 days after his return. Aleister Black took to Twitter to share his reaction and said this was unexpected. He had this to say: "I'm gathering my thoughts as this was a complete left field for me, as obviously we just started the Dark Father character. But this was it. Thank you so much, WWE Universe, for allowing me to create and give you small bits of myself." It's crazy to just see the weeks they spent building up his return. Obviously, all the money they spent on those animations for the Dark Father story. The fact that they actually had him return to WWE programming then turn around a few days later and not only scrap his return plans, but completely release him as well. It just really makes you wonder, what are you dealing with here? What's going on? Similar to the last wave, how does this make the locker room feel as well? The superstars that are left. Superstars are having their tag partners and best friends pulled from them out of nowhere when they were just on TV together last week. If you're a member of the locker room that's just sitting around doing nothing right now, and you're seeing all these superstars like Aleister Black getting released, you're probably wondering to yourself if you're next. That's how scary it seems like right now. No one is safe at all. Only individuals that are safe from being released at this point is probably the current champions, and that's about it. If these last two waves have taught us something, it's that anyone can be released no matter what, and it's a bit scary. Another big problem that we should definitely feel as a result of these releases is an even more depleted women's tag team division. Everyone was talking about how the women's tag team division was filled with infinite rematches. Well, things just got more rough because of a result of these releases. Two tag teams have been lost in the women's tag team division. Lana and Naomi are done, and the Riott squad is over as well. So the women's tag team division was already starting to get depleted, but now it is really depleted. Riott squad was the main contenders on Smackdown, but with that tag team now being gone, who does Tamina and Natalya face on Smackdown? There's literally no team left on Smackdown. As far as Raw goes, they're down to just Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke now. Nia Jax and Shayna are on the verge of splitting as well, so they're gone. So if WWE is aware of the issue, we should start to see some more tag teams being formed in the women's tag team division. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke are #1 contenders by default because there's no one else. So with WWE bringing those two tag teams to an end, you leave a big gaping hole in that women's tag team division. Of course, you had that report from a few weeks ago that claimed WWE was looking at Alexa Bliss and Lily as being candidates to become the next women's tag team champions. So, do they revert to that idea after they just depleted their women's tag team division? Who knows? But the women's tag team division definitely took the biggest hit from this wave of releases. The releases are always sad, and they always make you wonder what could have been. Like with Aleister Black, for example. Who knows if that Dark Father character could have been a hit, but they didn't even give it a chance at all. Not even a small test run or anything, just gave up before it even started. Of course, Raw losing Strowman and Lana is huge as well. Raw is already struggling and has been in shambles for a long time now. So anytime they lose talent, it's a big hit. But what are your thoughts on this massive wave of WWE releases? How are you feeling about it? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications turned on. And leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.